And the Nanoose Bay First Nation is taking legal action against a group of environmentalists blocking a logging site for the past week. The protesters have been occupying a forest to prevent the First Nation from logging it. They say it's one of BC's last stands of old-growth Douglas Fir, but the First Nation says it represents its economic future, and they want it back.
Snow blankets a tranquil forest just outside of Nanoose Bay. The stand of old growth towers above the forest floor undisturbed, at least for now.
We've tried to log on 3 separate occasions and have been stopped on 3 separate occasions.
A group of protesters have stopped a logging project here for the past week. Walking paths through the grove has been the protesters' weapon. Their presence in the cut zone has made work unsafe and forced the Nanoose First Nation to halt operations. The small Oceanside First Nation fought hard to win the provincial contract to log and say financial obligations have forced them to take legal action against the protesters.
We've applied to the court to have those individuals removed so that we can continue on with our operations safely.
A warning was handed down to those standing guard this morning by a legal team, saying if they do not leave the land awarded to the First Nation, they will be removed.
The Wilderness Committee is very concerned about the possibility of an injunction because it's going to interfere with our lawful work that we have been doing in this forest.
Protesters who have put their safety on the line here in this forest say their real concern is not with the First Nation who were given the license to cut, but with the government of British Columbia for awarding the license itself. Conservation groups battled the province for nearly 3 years over this grove, but in the end the Ministry of Forests dealt the land and enraged protesters.
If this stand goes, it could be the final straw to put this ecosystem into extinction. Once the dodo bird is dead, it's dead. And so it is vital.
This can be solved simply by giving the applicant the cash that they need.
This mess is pitting First Nations against residents.
MLA Scott Fraser isn't in his home riding of Alberni-PACIFIC Rim, but says the trip is worth it, as he wants to see the province undo what he calls a mistake and compensate the First Nation.
It's the poster child for what's left of coastal Douglas Fir, and for the Liberal government to issue a cutting permit on it was wrong.
Despite growing concern, the First Nation says they simply have to get back to work and will file official injunction documents Monday morning and hope to be cutting by sometime next week. Scott Cunningham, CTV News, Nanoose Bay.